What's happening? Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. This is the second day of February. I love the numbers though. Have you looked at the numbers for today's date? I didn't notice until I was writing it out, but it is 2/2/22. So it's 4 2s in a row. It's pretty cool. So today is 2/2/22. This is the 23rd episode of season 3 of the Be Your Own Hero show. HERO is an acronym. It means helping everyone reaps optimism. It means that, among other things. But helping others reaps optimism is my chosen acronym. And that means that giving is a reciprocal action. You help yourself as you help others. So definitely try that for yourself out there in your life. I'm your host. I'm sekouwrites. I'm a professional creative and the creator of the HERO Ministry movement. And that is my effort to uplift and inspire the unhoused community and people in general. People in general. Let's uplift and inspire some people. So I'm here Monday through Friday, 9:45 a.m. Eastern time. And you have to do the math for the other time zones. But I'll give you a couple. So that's 8:45 a.m. Central and 7:45 a.m. Mountain. New Thought Media Network, which is the host of this show, is based in Mountain Time in Denver, Colorado. So shout out to New Thought Media Network. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to have this platform to talk about my journey of being my own hero. So if this show helps you, if it feeds you, if it inspires you, please like, please comment, please share, definitely share, spread the word so that the show can grow, so that the network can grow. And also you can make donations to New Thought Media Network. It is a 501c3 nonprofit, so you can make a tax-deductible donation at ntmedia.org. All right, so let's get into it. This is, again, season 3. The theme for season 3 is doing. I got the doing hoodie on today, and that means for me that I am endeavoring to provide practical advice for things that I can do and hopefully things that you can do also to engender a different kind of experience around wealth and abundance. All right, so that's what we're doing. Okay, so Hero Ministry Movement News. Shout out to the heroes who are watching live. Shout out to the heroes that are going to watch later. And let me shout out the people who are commenting in the chat. Happy Wednesday, Gladys. Howdy, Nan. Good morning, Tim. Yeah, 2/2/22. It's a very cool day. It's a powerful number. It means something magical is going to happen. And yes, I got my water in. Thanks for the reminder. Appreciate that, Tim. So, a couple things I want to talk about. Let's kick it off with my charity run. Let me rephrase. My run streak that has now included 3 charity runs, including the current charity run. Current charity run is my charity run for Mr. Charles. So I'm excited, as I mentioned earlier in this week, that we have crossed the 25% barrier. We're over 25% complete with this charity for Mr. Charles. Yeah, this campaign, 25% complete with this campaign for Mr. Charles. Shout out to Tim for being the most recent person to donate. I appreciate you. And I've got an idea. I would love for us to share it on the same day. So today is day 247 of my run streak, which means, again, for those of you just joining us, I have been running every day, at least a mile a day, for now 247 days in a row. So I'm coming up on a big milestone, coming up on day 250. And that milestone happens to fall within this charity run for Mr. Charles. So I would love it if all of us could share this charity run on day 250. Because I wonder what kind of ripple effects that will have out there in the universe and in social media if we're all sharing on the same day and trying to pull other people into this sphere of giving for this gentleman who, just a reminder, who I found in the snow a couple weeks ago. So my task for myself is to post something early on day 250 so that you can just grab what I have and share it. You don't have to come up with your own post. I mean, you're welcome to come up with your own post if you like, but I'll post something early on day 250. I'll add up my miles. I have not added up my miles in a minute, so I'm very curious to know what my miles are. cumulatives from June 1st until now. And yeah, and then we'll try to generate some more support for Mr. Charles. And I'm hopeful that as people hear about that story, they'll be interested in getting involved, and we can help Mr. Charles get back on his feet, literally. So day 250 coming up. I'll keep you posted. Obviously, I'm going to continue to tell you what day it is, but just a reminder, day 250, let's blast it out together. Okay, so today's run report is up on social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Check it out. My big takeaway for today is, it was a rain day today. I haven't done a run in the rain for a while. And so I powered through that. And I have experience running in rain now. So there were a few things that I did to make it a little bit easier for myself. So it's nice to know that I have a body of knowledge around the best ways to run in the rain. And then also I told a story about a puddle and how it was an obstacle to me. So should I tell that story? No, check out the run report. I thought it was a pretty cool story. Anyway, what I do want to talk about though is after my run and after my run report, I was listening to a motivational video, as I often do early in the morning, and something that was said in that motivational video really struck me in terms of my run report, and also in terms of the 30-day challenge participants. So here's the quote. There's a freedom that comes from knowing that whatever tries to stop you has no chance. There's a freedom that comes from knowing that whatever tries to stop you has no chance. That is a great summary of what I've been trying to articulate in terms of 30 days of consecutive, consistent effort. It's different than the other times in my life when I've done something, even I used to refer to it as religiously. I was going to the gym religiously, or I was working out religiously, but it wasn't every day. There's a difference. There's a psychological difference. It's like, because you're doing it every day, the number of things that come to stop you will magnify themselves. There'll be so many things that come to stop you, most of which are self-generated, most of which are right here in your own mind. All these excuses, but there will be some life things too. And if you can push past those things consistently for 30 consecutive days, you get this feeling that is really embodied by that quote I just read, that whatever comes to stop me can't stop me. You begin to feel that you are unstoppable. And I say that for myself, and I share that with you because I'm going to be real with you. Unstoppable is never a word that I used to describe myself previously. That is not something that I would say. I would not be running around talking about I'm unstoppable. That is very far from my previous self-concept. But in the process of this run streak, in the process of running every single day, at least a mile a day, for over 200 days now, I have become unstoppable, sure, but that's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is my mindset about being unstoppable has shifted. And are there days when I missed the mark? Sure. There are still times when I'm confronted by something out there in the world and I don't do what I intend to do, right? I don't get through it as well as I can. But that said, I always have the ability to fall back on the very recent memory of me doing it despite of, right? So if I missed the mark on something midday on any day in the past 200, I can still say, okay, but this morning I didn't feel like going out there and running, and I did it anyway. And that recent memory helps me power through the next time. So I offer that to the people who are participating in the 30-day challenge. I have already said that we just going to keep re-upping and re-upping and re-upping. I'm inviting all of you to challenge yourself to at least once, do something consistently every day for 30 days. Just try it. Let's see what happens. See what happens inside you. Okay, so that's my quick and dirty about the 30-day challenge. Lots of interesting things going on in the group on Facebook about that. If you're interested, DM me. I'll send you an invitation to the group because it's a private group. You can't just go to the page. I have to send you the invitation or you have to request to join. So let me know if you're interested and you can check it out. I'm grateful at all the camaraderie that's happening in that space. It's very cool to watch. Okay, so that said, moving on to just general news. Don't forget to check out my couple of podcasts, the sekouwrites. I forgot the name of my podcast for a second. The sekouwrites podcast and the Get Rich 101 podcast. Check those out. Just a public service announcement. Check out both of those. There's new content on both. And also, I want to talk about the envelope challenge. As you saw, I think that was yesterday. I was talking about I got some dice because I kept pulling the number 3 out of the hat. And I was like, well, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Or maybe, my eye is finding the number 3 or whatever. So I was like, let me randomize it more by getting some dice. And I rolled the dice here on the show and rolled the number 3. So yesterday I did the work to look up the number 3. And the number 3 has a strong resonance for completion. I was like, okay, so why is this showing up for me? And what came to me immediately is that I am lacking a sense of completion for a couple things. So it is my intention to close the loop on a few things upcoming. I don't feel complete about charity run number 2. I know it is complete and the charities have gotten their funds, but I don't feel complete because there hasn't been some kind of culmination event where you, the people who donated, can see the people who were the recipients and join in the energy of that somehow. So that's what I feel the universe was trying to tell me by throwing the number 3 up often. So I'm going to heed that. So keep me accountable. I am intending to do some type of culmination, something for charity run number 2 before charity run number 3 ends. That said, I'm also feeling like I want to close the loop on the seminar that I mentioned a couple times, but then I got in my head about a bunch of other things and I didn't do it. So I am intentionally saying that I'm going to close the loop on the seminar. Again, my intention is to create the first seminar as a talk about NFTs. I've got some people who are experts in that space who have agreed to talk to us about NFTs. So I just got to pull the trigger, pick a date. And those are the 2 things that came up for me as soon as I looked up the number 3 and saw that it was a number that is associated with completion. Okay, so just sharing that with you. All right, so moving on. Let's see, Morning Zen. So as you know, if you've been watching the show, I've been doing the class, Reverend Mel's class, 30-Day Mental Diet, for the umpteenth time. And we are in the health week in terms of where we are in the book. It is a daily reading book, so there's something new every day. And I'm in the week of health. So I'm going to read you what stood out for me this morning for my morning reading. This is from day 26. And the theme for day 26 is you can avoid old age. You can avoid old age. So this is what I highlighted. It is the nature of your thinking that determines the aging of your body because thoughts influences the functions of the body. Right? That's pretty simple. Studies made by medical researchers indicate that at most, no part of the body is more than a year old at any given time. There is a continual process of new material being incorporated into the body, like fingernails growing, like hair growing. That is happening automatically all the time within the body. So there is no part of the body that's older than a year old. So that gives us an opportunity to shift the way we think about age. Anyway, back to the highlighting. The main thing which can influence the degree of aging that you experience is the process of your own thoughts. And sometimes you see a person at 80 who has more vitality than a person at 40. The source of such a difference is found in the way the individual thinks, right? So I'm going to share all that without commentary. I think it's self-explanatory. I've got my own things about age. Well, I'll just share this briefly. I have found that age tends to be one of those things that invites self-limitation. Like, because whatever age you are, you tend to think about what you want to accomplish by the next year of age, or what you wish you had accomplished by this year of age. And so after recognizing that experience in my own head, I've kind of disassociated myself from age. And also, you'll notice the same thing with other people. Well, people will ask you how old you are, but then right after that comes some form of judgment. And it's not mean judgment, but there's some form of assessment of what you have done or what you haven't done based on your age. So anyway, I thought this reading was especially powerful. Again, this is day 26 of the 30-Day Mental Diet by Willis Kinnear. Check it out. You'll probably be glad you did. If you have the book, reread it, because it won't be the same next time you read it. Okay, so that was the morning Zen. After we finish the 30-Day Mental Diet, I'm going to come back and talk about the 4 Agreements, because I've been reading that book at the same time, and there's so much to talk about there. But it's too much to talk about at the same time that I'm talking about the 30-Day Mental Diet, I think. Okay, so let's move on to abundance. So it's just after 10 o'clock. So for those of you just joining us, this is now a half-hour show. It starts at 9:45. So we've been talking for about 15 minutes. If you missed the beginning, it's cool. You can catch the replay on Facebook and on YouTube. If you watch on YouTube, please like and subscribe, and then you get notifications every time there's a new episode. All right, so let's get into abundance. And our usual affirmation is, I am so happy and grateful to be a multi-millionaire in every area of my life. I am so happy and grateful to be a multi-millionaire in every area of my life. Okay, and just a reminder, poor people spend. You guys know this by heart by now, right? Poor people spend, the middle class saves, but the wealthy invest. So you're already spending, you're already saving probably. So make sure that you are also investing to preserve the value of the money that you have saved. Okay, so it's Winning Wednesday. And in thinking about what I wanted to talk about for Winning Wednesday, I think I want to keep talking about these cognitive biases. Because again, it has boggled my mind that such a concept was found in my study of trading, stocks, securities, assets. So it's a really interesting place to find that. So I'm going to read you something that I found when I looked for a description of the mindset of a trader. This is one of many things, and you can try this yourself. If you Google something about, mindset of a stock trader, day trader, there's another word that I'm looking for that I can't quite pull up, but it'll come to me. Anyway, if you look for it yourself, you'll find something like this. But here is the description I found. Successful traders develop discipline, patience, adaptability, mental toughness, independence, and forward thinking. Discipline, patience, adaptability, mental toughness, independence, and forward thinking. Like, isn't that what we all want to be? Like, it's so fascinating to me that these people are basically Zen Buddha monks. They don't describe themselves that way, but they are. And I should be clear that these are successful traders. Anybody can trade, right? But 90 to 95% of the people who trade are not successful. So it's only 5% of the traders who are successful. The ones who are successful exhibit these qualities and many more. And the ones who are successful constantly talk about mindset. Brief aside. So there is, for example, this podcast I discovered recently where these two traders just talk to each other back and forth. They're like, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And they just talk about however that manifested for them. So a couple of things that they said that stood out to me, I might have mentioned this before, is one of them stopped watching Netflix. Not because it's too expensive, not because it's too much content in his analysis paralysis. He said it's because he knows that too much of the content on Netflix is dark in terms of feeling tone, in terms of energy. I was like, what? This is a stock trader talking about he can't watch Netflix because it's too dark. And I've heard people talk about that in terms of news, but not in terms of Netflix as a whole. So I think that's very significant. Here's another story from that same podcast. One of the guys said that every night when he goes to sleep, he makes a fist. And as his fist starts to relax naturally, that's when he thinks positive thoughts like, I am a successful trader, I am happy, I am loved. He thinks positive thoughts like that because he said that that is the moment when the fist is releasing itself. That's the moment when he's starting to slip into a deeper state of mind, and the beta waves are moving into alpha, and he knows that that is a better time to imprint positive ideas onto himself. Again, this is a stock trader. This is just an aside to how he manages his mental space in order to be a successful stock trader. So again, I'm just fascinated by the mindset of these folks. So I read to you some of the attributes of a successful stock trader. And I just wanted to circle back to cognitive biases really quickly. I mentioned outcome bias, and I also suggested that you Google cognitive biases and look for the ones that might be challenging for you. So here's another one that tends to be a challenge in stock trading, but also in life. It's called recency bias. Recency bias, like based on the word recent. And it's kind of what it sounds like. Recency bias is the idea that you're hyper-focused on what happened recently, and therefore you lose your picture of your bird's eye view of the whole situation. So, for example, if in trading, if you've haven't had a run of bad trades, the trades have all been negative, they've all been losers, you've been losing money, you think, oh, there's something wrong with the way that I'm trading, and you start to change stuff. Instead of taking a step back and looking at the bird's eye view and say, okay, yeah, I've had a few unsuccessful trades, but before that, for months, I had successful trades, whatever the number is. The system works. My system works. The way that I trade works. I will not be distracted by these few recent trades that did not go well. And this also, again, applies to life because we get caught up in what just happened, what just recently happened, positive or negative, and then forget to take a step back. So just because what happened recently has been all positive does not mean it's going to stay positive. Just because what's happened recently has been all negative does not mean it's going to stay negative, right? This too shall pass. That old adage, this too shall pass. So it's about being mindful to take a step back and look at the whole picture. Once again, this is called recency bias. And we've already talked about outcome bias. So we've got two cognitive biases that we've talked about that have been historically noted as impediments to stock trading, but are also impediments to living a life abundantly. So again, I'm fascinated at the overlap between the mindset of stock trading and the mindset of living an abundant life. Okay, all that said, someone asked me in the comments yesterday what my system is for buying and selling stocks, for trading stocks. I don't have no system. I do not have a system. Let's just be clear. I don't know what I'm doing. What I am doing is just sticking my toes in the water to see what this is all about. And I'm doing this primarily because of this show, so that I'll be able to talk about what happened, what didn't happen, what I expected versus what was reality for this show. I doubt that I would be moving this quickly if it wasn't for the show. So my experiment is my alarm. So my experiment for myself has been just to kind of, again, stick my toes in the water. That said, I've been trading with Webull, and just like, it's all upside. Because if you heard me talk about this before, Webull is giving away free stock, which is just mind-boggling. They give you free stock, and you can do whatever you want with that stock. So in my case, let's use a real example. They gave me a stock that's $4 a share. So I'm up $4 already, 100% profit, like no risk to me. So I'm up $4. But I decided to think about it in terms of trading. So I'm thinking about it in terms of, okay, I bought this stock, air quotes, for $4. How much do I want to make off of it? And I literally just chose random numbers. I was like, well, 5 cents, 10 cents, 25 cents, just thinking about it in monetary terms. And I was like, well, let's try to get 25 cents. So I set what's called a limit order, which means that you go into, in this case, Webull, and you set a limit order and you say, if this stock ever in life reaches $4.25, I want you to sell. That type of order is called good till canceled. Good until canceled. Separate from good until the end of the day. There's those two types. One of which is good until the end of the calendar day, and the other one is good till canceled. So I designated good till canceled, and then I just set it and I forgot about it. And at some point I went back into Webull and saw that it had sold itself. So technically I made $4.25 because they gave me the free stock. But in terms of the way I was thinking about it, I was like, oh, I made 25 cents on this trade, right? And I've done that now 3 times. Same process. I get a free stock from Webull. I choose an arbitrary number about how much more I want to make. I kind of look at the chart just a little bit to see if it's ranging high or low, if it's like, what's the range of how high and low the stock price is going. And I try to pick a number kind of in range. Like if it's traded for $4, I'm not going to say sell this stock when it gets to $15. Like that's too big a jump. But that's all the analysis that I'm doing. I still don't know how to buy back in. Like once the stock is sold, I don't know how to buy back in. Like so for that stock, I don't remember what the stock even was, but I sold it for $4.25. And so my thought was, I should maybe buy back in and then sell again at a higher amount. I don't know how to do that yet. But notice I'm using the word yet because I'm fascinated by the ease is not quite the right word, but it's just not as intimidating as it has appeared to be. And granted, that's partly because the barriers to access have come down. Like there's no fees. Webull is giving away free stock. I understand there's some other brokerage houses that are giving away free stock. It's a good time to be involved. That said, it's not as intimidating as I thought it would be. And so I'm intending to learn more and more about this process and more about the mindset and more about the cognitive biases that stock traders avoid, because avoiding those in life is the way you can prepare for a career stock trading or a side hustle stock trading or anything else related to abundance and wealth and money, because you're changing the way you think, and it can't help but have beneficial results, right? It's all about mindset. That's the takeaway. It's all about mindset. You're going to hear me say that a lot because I just, like, who would have thunk that I would go down the rabbit hole about stock traders and find, these are the 8 cognitive biases that we avoid. Who would have thought? All right, so I'm also going to talk more about the turtle traders. You heard me mention them earlier this week. The turtle traders are fascinating to me. Some of them have written books, and I've been checking those out, so I'm going to talk about that a lot coming up. All right, so coming up right now is prayer time at 10:15, and then after that, it's Sit with Rev Melissa at 10:30. I'll be producing that show, and I might pop in to say a few words here and there. So stay tuned to New Thought Media Network. Drop your comments in about whatever you want to know more about, and we'll keep talking about this world of abundance. All right, so until you see me tomorrow, keep doing, be a hero, be your own hero, and remember that right now is better than perfect in terms of investing. Later.